Discover the Access Plus version of the popular timeline, memory, and thinking game, which has been adapted for players living with cognitive disorders. Timeline Access Plus can be played alone or with up to 4 players, ages 8 and up. Each round takes about 15 minutes to play. The box contains 3 decks of Timeline Access Plus cards with 3 different themes, a 2-sided timeline for each player, the game rules, testimonials, and game mediation advice from scientific experts. Select the desired level of difficulty and create your event card deck by randomly selecting arts and leisure and daily life cards. Or mix the two for a higher level of difficulty. Place the deck in the middle of the table with the title side facing up. This will be the draw pile. Put the remaining cards back in the box. Each player places a timeline in front of them with the classic side facing up to help them situate events in time. Each player also draws a card from the pile and places it in front of them, date face up. Each card will act as a time reference for placing the next card. The game can now begin. The first player, selected at random, takes the top card from the draw pile and reads the event. The player must then decide where to place the event on the timeline or in relation to the card or cards in front of them. The player must say where they think the card should go on their timeline, then flips it over to show the date of the event. If the player puts the card in the right place, that is chronologically in relation to the other card or cards already on the table, the player gets to keep the card on their timeline. If they did not put the card in the right place, they must place the card at the bottom of the draw pile. Going clockwise, the next player draws a card. Without turning the card over, they must decide where to place it on their timeline. The game ends when there are no more cards in the draw pile. The player with the most cards on their timeline wins. If there's a tie, the winning players share the victory. Shuffle the Personal Experiences deck and place it near the player. This will be the draw pile. Give the player a timeline with the Personal Experiences side facing up to help them situate events in time. The player draws the first card from the pile, identifies the images, and reads the title out loud. You can choose the front or back of the card together. The player then talks about a memory, present moment, or future aspiration the card evokes. The player decides what moment in time the card refers to. Invite the player to date the experience more or less precisely to be able to situate it more easily in time. You can then draw a new card to evoke another memory. The player must place this card chronologically in relation to the other cards already on their timeline. There are no right or wrong answers. If a card does not evoke any memories or thoughts, or if the player prefers not to talk about an experience the card has called to mind, set the card aside and pick another one. The game ends when the player has placed 5 cards on their timeline. While playing Timeline Access Plus, the players apply their mathematical knowledge and notions of ranking in ascending order or a timeline to be able to place the cards in chronological order. The players also use their long-term memory to recall knowledge and recollections, and mental imaging or inner discourse to replay what happened. They use their lexical field throughout the game and analyze the cards they need to place. In the Personal Experiences version, helpers can lead the game and guide the players in channeling the emotions that arise when recalling certain events. The players can then be encouraged to talk about their life and aspirations in greater detail. The discussions will become privileged exchanges in which performance counts much less than sharing. You can find all the recommendations and scientific advice in the dedicated booklet inside each game box. Also discover the other adapted games in the Access Plus product line on accessplus-asmodee.com. Access Plus, games for every ability.